of a kind of place that is the Pavilhão de Portugal here in Lisbon. We are just side by side with the UN Ocean Conference, Blue Zone over there, and as you know, the main theme is scaling up ocean action for SDG 14, for implementing SDG 14 based on science and innovation. And this is a science hour. We have 3 wonderful speakers. We are lacking one. He will be arriving soon. And well, you know, I just want to thank you all for coming, of course. As you know, we are going to have pitch presentations, which means that each speaker has kind of 6 minutes to talk a little bit of what you are doing. And in the end, I'll open the floor for some questions from the audience. So, let's begin already. First, I would like to welcome Sofia Cordeiro. She is also my colleague. She is from FCT, the coordinator of the Ocean Program. Please take the floor. Sofia Cordeiro will explain how we are boosting ocean science cooperation and coordination across the Atlantic with the pitch Research and Innovation-Based Solutions, the example of science diplomacy in the Atlantic Ocean. Sofia, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raquel. I hope all of you are hearing me, and it is a pleasure to be here today. As Raquel said, if you want to come closer, come in. This will be kind of informal discussion, more or less. So what I will speak about is the All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance, and I will bring you some results from this initiative that are contributing to SDG 14. So, why do we need these kind of alliances? And today we will hear about in the Altice Arena about the need for partnerships. In fact, SDG 17, it's really the cross-cutting SDG to allow that all others, that we can achieve all others. So in terms of the oceans, all of us know that oceans provide regulate our climate, that oceans are important for the economy. In fact, there is another event, side event to the UNOC in Estoril that is discussing the importance of ocean for our economy. It's also important for recreation, you know, food, medicine, a lot of services that are important for our daily life. But we also know that there are many activities, human activities in the sea, which are creating pressure to our ocean. And if we think on the Atlantic Ocean, it is a big mass of water, as you can see, and there are a huge number of countries bordering it, which increases the complexity of a good management and the sustained management of this water mass. So what we thought was that cooperation is really key in order to manage and sustain this precious resource that is of all of us, and all of us should care. So the All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance started as a scientific diplomacy, really to promote the cooperation on research and innovation across and along the Atlantic Ocean in ocean-related issues. So it is a science diplomacy process, as I said. It started with the Galway Declaration in 2013 that was signed between European Commission, European Union, Canada and the United States. Then in 2017 we had a signature of the Belém Statement. In addition to the European Union, we had Brazil and South Africa cooperating. More recently, in 2018, the European Commission developed agreements, bilateral cooperation agreements with Argentina, and a few months later with Cape Verde, and more recently the European Commission also developed agreements with Morocco, this in 2020. This year we will have, in fact next July, we will have another high-level forum of this alliance. Well, all of these countries that you see here will sign a single declaration, really showcasing an all-Atlantic cooperation in the Atlantic Ocean. So the All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance, I will not detail it fully, You have the website there, but it's based in three principles: in co-responsibility, co-property, and co-implementation, which are key to manage a wide mass of water and to implement the partnerships. So in terms of specific activities, we have, we connect, we act, and collaborate. Connect is crucial. There are a huge number of activities already going on at the Atlantic level, and we really need to create synergies among all of them, and not really inventing the wheel in creating new things. No, things that are going well, we should maximize them. We should act together and cooperate together through specific joint activities that we can promote. So in terms of the All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance, we are promoting activities in these 5 transversal areas, so capacity building, knowledge transfers, data sharing, sharing of infrastructures, as well as ocean citizen awareness and literacy. The intentions are, and here I've taken a copy from the declarations, is really, I will not read through all of them, but as you can see, it's really to benefit our society. It's to improve our capacity to work together for the benefit of the society in general. So in terms of the long-term collaboration and the research and innovation solutions that we are promoting, in terms of the working groups and the joint pilot actions that we are developing, we have here 6 of these joint pilot actions. You can find more information about them in the website that I showed you before, but one is focusing on capacity and training of our students that are crucial to enable the future science that is needed. 2 pilot actions focus on knowledge transfer, one specific on marine biotechnology and one for aquaculture. Then on this side we have 3 other joint pilot actions, one focusing on sharing of data, the second one on ocean literacy, and the last one, Marinette, on infrastructure sharing. In this link here, you have all the presentations. They are in our YouTube channel, the All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance YouTube channel. You have there these presentations, as well as many others in scope of the Alliance, and videos, a lot of videos. Then, of course, this cooperation is not only developed based on the project that I'm coordinating, which is the Anchor project. It's also based on many other research and innovation projects funded at the European Commission and at national level. Here I bring some of the results that we have achieved from several European funded projects, and I included areas that are relevant for all the declarations that I've mentioned, as well as for SDG 14. So we are having results for climate change, ecosystems and diversity restoration, sustainable fisheries and aquaculture, blue economy, ocean observation, and ocean literacy. I will not detail all of them. There are a series of projects there, but as you can see, this is a quite well-structured and complex cooperation that we are bringing to sail in this ocean. And as I told you, we are contributing, and really the old aim of this is contributing to the Agenda 2030, to the UN Decade of Ocean, the UN Decade of Ocean Science, sorry, as well as, of course, to several strategics at the European Union, as well as yes, exactly. I'm not remember the name now. So we are, the All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance cooperation has been considered a model of cooperation at basin scale, as it is being able to connect the stakeholders and to empower them to collaborate together and implement concrete solutions at an Atlantic level. So it's contributing to SDG 14, mainly bringing new knowledge. Of course, it's based on the partnerships, but it's also cross-cutting, because at the end when we speak about fisheries, we are speaking about no hunger. When we speak about renewable technologies, we are speaking about affordable and clean energy, and so on and so on. So it's really a cross-cutting, or the alliance is having cross-cutting impact in all SDGs. I thank you for your presence here, and I ask you to save the date for the second leg of the All Atlantic Ocean Research Forum that will take place in July, from the 12th to the 14th of July in Washington. The event will be streamed online. Participation is limited, but the event will be streamed online, so all of you can follow it on these days. We are currently uploading the website with more information on the side events, so stay tuned in the next days, and you will have there all the relevant information. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you a lot. Welcome, Luisa, our fourth speaker. Thank you so much. I've noticed that the pilot actions, the joint pilot actions you mentioned, a lot of them are about enabling innovation, enabling science, which also the mission on healthy oceans is also betting on that, right? Not only, addressing specific issues like pollution, marine protected areas and all, but on the enablers. So we can foster partnerships, foster cooperation, and I was wondering, can new partners be welcomed in the All Atlantic?
Yes, of course. In fact, thank you for bringing that.
Yeah.
Yes, this cooperation is open to everyone. So the joint pilot actions have started due to the pandemic. They have really kicked off this year. End of last year. So they are really in the first stages of implementation. So everyone, every single stakeholder, from academia, from industry, NGOs, society in general, even the kids, they are welcome to collaborate and implement all of these pilot actions. As Raquel was saying, we are not promoting research itself, it's really enabling that the cooperation can take place. Which are the opportunities? Are a huge number of opportunities already there? What are we collecting? Basically, collecting all of them and put them available in databases. For example, AA Marinette, they did a pilot study where they, using cruises that were already programmed, they brought on board students in order to allow them to learn how to do research in the Atlantic Ocean in the cooperative way. So really sharing the infrastructures. They will now develop, and it will be released in September this year, a website where they will include several opportunities to share infrastructures that are needed for research and innovation. So this is crucial. There are a lot of information that we don't know, and we can go there and there and there to have it. But if we have everything in a single place, that is really a huge step. And basically this alliance is promoting this coordinated cooperation and really try to become a one-stop shop for all of these that is going on in the Atlantic Ocean. So we don't really do research, we enable that research and that cooperation can take place.
Right, exactly, not invent the wheel. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sophia, that was really important. So the next speech has a tasty feeling about it, and it is a very important topic. If we think about diversifying food supply, which in these troubling times is really about talking about food security also. Cristiana, welcome. Cristiana Nunes, she's from ISA here in Lisbon, will present us about YUM algae, enzymes to make microalgae-based food products yummy. So thank you, Cristiana. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm going to present the YUM algae project. It is about improving microalgae sensory profile to enrich food products. As you know, Microalgae are sustainable resources aligned with the circular bioeconomy and also with the sustainable goal 14, life below water. Microalgae are being used for different applications, namely biofuels, wastewater treatment, biofertilizers, pharmaceuticals, feed and also food. And in fact, they have remarkable nutritional benefits. A composition rich in proteins, polyunsaturated fatty acids, minerals, vitamins, pigments, and so they are considered a food for future. They are inoculated and cultivated in photobioreactors or raceway using water, CO2 and nutrients, and they are harvested by filtration and centrifugation to obtain as a concentrated paste that can be dried, as you see here. This is the usual food ingredient. The use of byproducts from other industries is the way forward to a circular bioeconomy using natural or artificial light. Here you can see the bioreactors at Norse Research Institute. In Norway they are producing the algae and using sensory enzymes to reduce pigments and the fishy flavors. Here in this slide is part of Norse team. Microalgae are also produced in Portugal at large scale by Pagarete Microalgae Solutions. Well, I am from ISA, a school of agriculture in Lisbon. We have been studying the use of microalgae in foods for almost 20 years. For the Yam Algae project, we selected two staple foods, bread and also cheese. The idea is to reduce the fishy flavors and pigments of microalgae biomass. The green bread that you will see, this is Chlorella vulgaris in the dried biomass, and here you can see this green bread produced with autotrophic chlorella, while the other breads contain chlorella but with lighter color and also smell and taste. It can be done already by heterotrophic cultivation, but it is limited to some species. And we also have used the ethanolic treatment of the biomass to reduce the taste and the color and so on, but it reduces the bioactive compounds and also has, as you know, environmental problems. So in the Yam Algae project, we are using enzymatic methodologies. Norse is doing the enzyme selection, and at Instituto Superior Técnico enzymes are tested for deodorization and deochlorization. Top 3 algae will be produced and treated with enzymes at Pagarete company in Portugal. As I said before, biokinetic studies using enzymes are done at Técnico by Carla Carvalho, who is here with us today. Thank you, Carla. And here it is a previous project promoted by Queijo Santiago, a Portuguese company. We developed several cheeses, obtaining promising results in terms of sensory acceptance by the consumer. Some of the cheeses will be launched in the Portuguese market very soon. Everything, as you see, turns green, and the best are the nutritional properties and health benefits. In these cheeses, we achieved a high increase in antioxidants and minerals. With the Yam Algae project, we would like to increase the levels of microalgae to improve the sensory profile. Here is our great team, and as we say, let's make algae yummy. thank you very much. I would like to thank to EEA Grants for the financial support, also to FCT for this invitation, of course, and to you, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Cristiana, so much. That was really interesting.
You
I
hear
got-
the sound?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And we heard you
Okay.
very well. Very
Thank
well.
you.
You said the cheese was going to enter the Portuguese market very
Yes,
soon?
yes.
Wow. Do you know when?
We are
you can
finishing
tell.
this next month, July. We are finishing this project. We developed several cheeses, as you saw, fresh curd cheese. The curd cheese has a high sensory score in the panel that we, of course, use, but it's a large panel, and in some sensory events with sensory tastes, we have positive feedback.
Yeah.
So the company is really interested in launching this
Launching
in
it.
the market. Yes, yes.
And the bread, wonderful.
Yes.
Really.
A strong green in some cases, a light green in other cheeses. It depends on the level of microalgae that we can add. But that's why it is important, in my opinion. In the future, we have to change our food habits. Microalgae, in my opinion, are really a food for the future. But it means that we have a sensory profile that don't allow us presently to incorporate higher levels and to really replace the conventional food sources. So let's see if with this project, with the enzymes, we believe that we can do it. And this is a biochemical, a biotechnological method, and it's better than the others that are possible now. Let's see.
Okay, thank you. That was very, very
Thank
interesting.
you.
Thank you so much, Cristiana. So for our next presentation, please welcome Francisco Campuzano. He's from the Plus Atlantic CoLAB. So complementing observation systems and modeling is the way to go, right, Francisco? Let's hear about novel technologies to support Marine Strategic Framework Directive, monitoring and interregional integration in the Atlantic Ocean. Thank you, Francisco. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for your invitation. And I think I was the right place to present this project that has been running for a while. But this, we are trying also to link policymakers with technology and with research. So just to show you a little bit, the idea came that we have a very large ocean in front of us. We know that in Portugal the area is like 20 times the size of the land in Portugal, but only if we look the area, if we look 3D, it's really large. So it's like 45% of European waters, something like this. I think I read a number yesterday about it. But then I thought, if Portugal has this problem, also it's a problem for Spain, it's a problem for Ireland, it's a problem for many countries in the Atlantic area. So then we put all together these ideas, and then we went to the Interreg Atlantic area, and they happily funded our project, where we are. It's running for. I mean, initially we asked for 4 years, but with the COVID, and now we had an extension for. They have a new call for extending the project, so it will end it in June next year. We had like 4.2 million, and it's relatively a large consortium. So we are like 21 partners. We have associated partners, and the idea is to try. I mean, even on surface, we are like, as I said, like a very large area to try to collaborate in different ways. So, especially when we look at this is a different color diagram that we have for the MSFD. So it looks similar to what the ocean the SFD, yeah. But so we are maybe all of them they will be within this SDG 14. Because they have a lot of different type of indicators and information that they are asking the policymakers to the researchers to provide some advice. Okay, so I will show you some of the, well, all the consortium. So these are the full partners. We have, I don't know why it went like so fast. So these are the full partners, our technical partners. We have partners in every country of the Atlantic area, but also on the archipelago. So we have people in the Canary Islands, Madeira, and the Azores region. And then we have also associated partners that are the responsible partners for the implementation of the marine strategy directive on every member state. Also there are CoLAB, but also we have Mercator Ocean. So we have a number of associated partners that ensure that what we are producing is focused and target for their needs. So, and then we have some allies that we wanted to put all together. That is, we have the government, the policymakers, like we were discussing before, academia, so we have the researchers and then other projects running around. Industry, so we have companies that are helping us, and then we are signing MOUs for a collaboration with them, and also try to involve also citizens. So they start to know what are the problems that we have, and to get to know about a little bit more about the ocean. And then we have a similar diagram for the different aspects, because even scientists, we don't talk to each other out of our areas. So modelers tend to meet with modelers, remote sensing people tend to meet with remote sensing people, and so on. So the idea is to try to put all together, because it was sometimes even a problem for the decision makers and policy makers, like which one should I use? Should I use more in situ, more remote, novel technologies? Of course, numerical modeling, and a numerical modeler, I will choose this one. No, I'm just kidding, but they try to integrate all of them and to generate this dialogue between the different technologies. So this is some of the results. I mean, it has been running for a long time. So we have programs for monitoring in all the Atlantic area. These red lines are cruises that where researchers from one country are going to another country and share methods, share people, share resources. And then we are starting to monitor and generate programs to monitor the deep ocean, because normally all the monitoring is getting very close to the coastal area. So we have like 42 international participation in research courses. So people going from one institution to another. We have also, I don't know why it's going so fast. So then we have also novel methodologies for monitoring. We have also done like 8 international glider missions on surface. We released one from Azores to go to the Canaries. We have done one that went around Ireland and the UK. And we have established with the collaboration, this is something done by Plocan, but also with the collaboration of the Hydrographic Institute in Portugal. There is now an endurance line every year going from the Nazaré Canyon up to the Canary Island and collecting these vertical profiles of temperature, salinity, chlorophyll A. So these are very valuable information that, I mean, the value for money is quite high because it's not expensive as a research cruise, but we got a lot of information. We are also, as I said, some teaching for the kids, try to make them to get to know what are these technologies and trying to get in contact. They decorated this glider when we went in the Azores, and they said like message like, take me to the end of the world, please. And they were very excited about it, and it was a very nice experience. And also we have now a program with mini boats that are the schools are decorating the mini boats, doing all themselves. And this is the mini boat from the UK that was just mounted in a research cruise, was released. It crosses all the Atlantic in 45 days and reached the north of Brazil, where it was saved by the help of some institution there, because it's not a very populated area. And we will have now this Friday one networking Fridays from Air Center explaining these adventures with the mini boats. We have like 6 of them, at least one from every country in the Atlantic area. 2 or 3 of them are currently now in the sea. So also we are doing this type of providing information in global scale and local scale on remote sensing to try to produce some indicators. And also we are doing numerical models for each of the countries, and also trying to produce some of the indicators like are not very easy to obtain data. Like this is the Great Meteor, that is a marine protected area quite south from the Azores. So we can produce like temperature on the surface, we can produce temperature in the bottom. So this information, they complement each other because we cannot get satellite information near the sea bottom, so it's on the surface. We cannot go every day to obtain data in a very remote area. We cannot go with a glider, so the idea is to try to put all together so we can produce some indicators for the policymakers. And that's what I wanted to tell you. And if you have any doubt later, I will be around these days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Francisco. Wonderful, wonderful. Here is a project where collaboration between academia, industry, policymakers also, and citizen science, a lot of room for citizen science. And in this case, what has been driven this is MSFD really.
Yeah.
So it was kind of top down. In another session we were talking about what are the drivers for cooperating in ocean management, science and everything. In this case, MSFD was the driver to come everyone together in this project. Thank you so much, Sofia. I think you wanted to say something?
Yes. I want to say that IFADO is really one of the projects that is also contributing to the All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance. So there are a huge number of projects that are already contributing to the policies, more at the strategic level, strategic policies, but also at the highest level where we have all these representations from different countries. Let me also say other thing, that in the All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance we have the research projects where researchers are really paid to implement these activities, but also regarding the joint pilot actions, it's the willingness of the community that is promoting the activities. So what we do in the projects that are supporting this cooperation is we just provide seed funding. It's just for one travel, two travels, a catering, etc. So it's really something that it's coming from the community to implement these partnerships, and that is what I think we should value. It's a community-driven process with the resources from the community. And this is very important when we are also speaking on the decade. It's the resources of the community that are being put in practice towards the same goal. And we are just more or less gluing the different activities.
So bottom-up process also. Thank you, Sophia, for that insight. Thank you so much, Francisco. And now, please, our final pitch today is given by Luís Seca. He's from INESC Tech, and he's going to talk us about sites where new technologies can be tested. This is an important investment for R&D communities, the industry. So thank you so much, and take the floor, Luís.
Yes, thank you. So good morning, everyone. I would like to thank for this opportunity to make a presentation that will be different from what you have seen before. So I will not be talking about a specific project, but about an infrastructure that is giving its first steps, and that, in our opinion, will be important for the development of some of the ocean energies, as I will show. So this is the test site in Abusadora. And before moving on to the description of the site, I would say that in terms of context, it's important for people to understand that the decarbonization of the power sector actually should be using the largest number possible of renewable sources, because one must know that depending on specific renewables can be tricky for the security of supply, and so adding other alternatives is relevant. But at the same time, we can understand that the energy that can be harnessed from oceans has other impacts in blue economy, for example, shipping, cooling, water desalination. That is also a problem. Potable water is a problem around the world. So it is a system or an ecosystem that can provide not only the impact in the power sector, but in others. At the same time, and given the recent conflict in Ukraine, we were the European Commission presented its Repower EU initiative that will that has put even a more significant effort in this acceleration of the rollout of renewables to reduce the dependence on fossil fuels, particularly the ones that come from Russia. And one thing that we need to understand is that, and Portugal is a good example of a country where there has been a large integration of renewable, but everyone has seen that the problem of prices, because we always need to have some source that we can control. And introducing other technologies that can be somehow less variable in time, and ocean energy has proven to have a more stable profile in terms of primary resource, can be important for us to achieve this balance that the system has to have every moment, because this is not a concept that everyone has, but every time we connect something, there is somewhere in the system a machine that needs to speed up and give a little bit more of power. But one cannot ask the sun to shine more or the wind to blow more. So it is tricky to manage a system like this. And Repower EU is clearly putting even more significant effort on the acceleration of renewables. And so we believe that ocean energy can have an important role. And here is obvious that Europe can be a lighthouse on the combination of all these resources. We have many countries that have a significant integration of renewables, but the point here is having this security of supply to make this growth and integration on renewables something sustainable. What is the issue on these ocean energies? Is that in fact they have different levels of maturity. Offshore wind, and we can see that for instance, in those curves on the levelized cost of energy, are clearly the technology that can be further developed more quickly. So the quick win, because we have learned a lot from onshore. But there are other technologies that can also be used. From wave to tidal and other technology. Clearly, what is important to state is that the potential in terms of energy from the ocean can represent up to 100 or 400% of the current global demand for electricity. So the potential is there, but it's a very difficult environment, very aggressive, and where several technologies have been tested in the past and have shown some difficulties. So it's still something that we need to invest. Of course, we know that like solar power or wind power, the investments that are being done will reduce this levelized cost of energy. So we've foreseen that in the coming years, up to 2040, we can have a more competitive value for these technologies. And then we get to our specific reality in our country. We know that the northern region of Portugal has very good conditions for these marine renewable energies. And not only the resource, but also other conditions that are very relevant for developing technology. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, what we are proposing here is a test site for developing some technologies in real conditions, which is sometimes difficult for us that are researchers. One thing is testing something on a lab or in a tank, another thing is taking it to the sea. And so I think it's important to outline that around this test site that we are currently implementing, there is an ecosystem that is important for everyone that wants to develop something or some technology. So not only the infrastructures from railways and highways and ports, but also a lot of companies that are now established in the region and that have the technology and also that have research that is done in companies themselves. And at the same time, if we want to feed a system of development, we need to have the people. And the people are coming from academic that is strong in this area in the northern region, but also some RTOs and other CoLABs like INESC, but others, where we have, let's say, a hands-on policy that leads to a capacity of some of these younger researchers that when they go to the market, they have a completely different capacity because they have trained and work a lot on very specific projects, sometimes in higher TRLs, so some things that represent more mature technologies. And of course also incubation and acceleration. Many times these companies and these technologies start from startups, so they do not have the financial capacity to boost the development, and so having this capacity is also important. So all of this is in a radius of 40 kilometers of our test site. So we believe that this can be a very good opportunity for these developments. Now, something more specific on this site. So let me start by saying that this site was used in the past for many technologies, AWS, Pelamish, WindFloat. WindFloat started the first tests there. It has the advantage of being quite near the coast. And so this is important because we are not talking about the need for testing purposes, about the need of having a huge capacity to put power into the network. What we need is to have a flexible infrastructure that every time some technology provider wants to test and wants to develop a technology, it is there and it has all what he needs to make this testing. So clearly we're talking about TRLs around 5 and 8, so it's a lot on testing solutions that were already developed. As I said, the distance from the coast is quite short and it's important for flexibility purpose, around 5 kilometers. So we have a connection cable that has around 3 megawatts of available power to a 4 megawatt substation. In fact, we will have two because we have a new cable and another cable that was there resulting from the other projects that can be used also for research projects in other areas such as marine robotics and so on. And of course, the experience of these other pioneer projects where we have learned, or let's say the ecosystem has learned a lot on how aggressive this environment can be, is also important. What is our overarching objective? It's to have the capacity to study, to analysis, and to have these research and development projects to be able to support the production of electricity coming from the ocean. So it is expected that we can have, in a certain period, one technology, at the same time we can have another technology. We can support research projects, particularly the ones that have a higher demonstration level, in a real condition, which is very important to validate some of the premises of the development. INESC Tech and the WAVEC have become recently the main shareholders, so that's why I'm saying that we are starting. This site belonged to EDP. Now we entered in the position of the society that runs the site because we believe that this site can be a lever for many of the developments that we need to have now, and it's with institutions like INESC Tech and WAVEC that have a vision of these things, that is to foster this development, and the idea is not to integrate renewables on the network. We have a limited power. The idea here is to give the conditions for others to develop. Some of the, and here we have potential services because, as I was saying, this is something that is giving the first step. So the installation is there, but we are now taking over what we have and doing a lot of maintenance and changing what we feel is relevant. But it will be important for some aspects like testing and certification, not only of marine renewable energies, but also some aquaculture prototypes. Also, the integration of other sources in external hubs, including storage, and there are some companies, recently I saw a startup in the Netherlands that is working on hydropneumatic storage installed in water, so it's something that can also decrease the variability of the primary resource. Of course, support in terms of environmental monitoring and impact of platforms and structures, not only with the capacity to have all the data that is fundamental for us that do a lot of research in this area to see the performance we need to get all the data, and all the data can be gathered and bring to the infrastructure. But at the same time, we can provide also from other initiatives that we have the capacity to make this monitoring and surveillance using, for instance, autonomous robots and so on that we have developed. And of course, as I was saying, the ICT resources to support this collection of data and processing that is very important for us to be able to evolve the different prototypes. So in terms of contacts, we are here, I'm here, Carlos is over there, and Antonio also. They will be the leaders of this infrastructure, and we are available to provide any information that you may require. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luis. That was really interesting. A couple of years ago, we had an agenda in FCT, which was a process of bottom-up with the community of scientists and also private sector, trying to know the needs of the scientific community and innovators to boost their activity, and test sites were identified as a much needed structure to foster, well, in the end, blue economy and everything, sustainable blue economy. So this is very relevant, and I understood that you can run more than one test at the same time, so you can have a lot of them. And I saw there also aquaculture, for instance, so you can, connect different projects there.
Yes, yes. The idea is exactly that. Actually, we applied for the FCT Roteiro Nacional de Infraestruturas de Investigação precisely because we think that this infrastructure can sell these services to technology providers that want to make this last mile development, but at the same time, and particularly by the nature of our institutions, it's obvious that it can be a tremendous support for research in earlier stages. And so the idea is that we can have this opportunity for researchers all over the world to participate and to make this testing of smaller things that do not have, let's say, the level of development or maturity that the company may have. But it is very important because having the capacity to extract all the data that is necessary for us to move on is important. And for instance, we already have a large European project that will be running there with specific technology that will be tested. And it's precisely this capacity that we think that should be made available for private sector, for technology development, but at the same time for the research ecosystem to give strong steps in the elevation of the TRL that often we as researchers tend to stop because we do not have the capacity to move forward, and it's important to have this infrastructure.
Exactly, Luis. Thank you
Yes.
so much. Thank you so much for your presentation. Well, now, of course, I open the floor for anyone that wants to pose a question. Please feel free to do it. We have a microphone over there. We have a question over here. Please say who you are, identify yourself.
Are you hearing me? Oh. Hi, I'm Mariana. I'm a medical student here in Portugal. And I've always been very interested in sustainability and ocean. My question goes to Catarina, I think.
Cristiana.
Cristiana.
Sorry. About the microalgae. You're saying one of the problems that we have in introducing this kind of food in people is because of the taste and how we are not used to it. My question is there something available that we can begin to introduce in our food, like in supermarkets? Is there any food that contains that taste in small quantities so we can get used to the taste?
The question, thank you very much for the question. There are some food products with several microalgae, chlorella and spirulina. At least they are the approved one. There are some others, but they are the most known microalgae. In fact, spirulina is a cyanobacteria. But we only can introduce low levels. The question is that to have a sustainable food, our goal is to increase the level of incorporation. This is what we would like to achieve in this yam algae project, because of course in other parts of the world they are used to these tastes and flavors. We are not, so here it's difficult, but I think that food education, in particular in children, it's very important. We are also working with chefs they can produce a lot of incredible foods, but the goal is to introduce algae in industrial food products. That's our goal, because when introducing it in staple foods, all the people can eat, not only some of us. So this is the main goal, is to really improve the sensory quality, because at higher levels it's really difficult to eat food with microalgae. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Cristiana. Anyone else wants to make a question to our audience? Okay, so we do have 5 minutes left, so I'll take benefit of it. We are just side by side with the UN Ocean Conference. We are talking about SDG 14. What, in a few small sentences, would you say that is the most important thing that your project that you presented is doing to foster the implementation of SDG 14 and its targets? And Sofia, I'll start by you because you were the first to talk.
Okay, so I think it's coordinated cooperation that is the basis of what we do, is really what can target the achievement of all these targets under SDG 14, I would say it's that.
Okay, okay, thank you. So cooperation.
Coordinated
Coordinate.
cooperation.
Oh yes, you highlighted a lot. Yes, thank you. Christiana, please.
Yes, in my opinion, if we can introduce these sustainable sources in our food and food systems, as you know, has a huge impact in terms of our planet. So we can replace at least some of the conventional food sources, and I think that this is the objective.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And
Christiana.
also the healthy benefits, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Sustainable you, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Please.
So in our case, I think that it could be maybe dialogue, to establish a dialogue between scientists and policymakers and try to get out of our area of comfort. Because normally scientists work with scientific problems and not too much with providing answers. So, and the policymakers sometimes they don't have the time to listen to us. So I think that this dialogue establish this dialogue and try to help each other, I think it has been probably one of the outcomes of it.
Yeah, so policy, ocean action really, and link it with science. That's all the theme of the overall theme.
So I think that's why I think the project fitting
I
well
think your
indeed.
project do that, yes, does that, yes, thank you. Luis, what about you?
Well, I would say we have the same, because this proximity between technology and research is the only way for us to reach the goal of having clean and affordable energy. That is by far what we intend to have here. It becomes obvious from the evolutions that we saw in other technologies that it is very important to create the conditions for these technologies to be matured, and now they need to be matured much more quickly. So the further we have in terms of capacity to test it in real condition, the better we can have it. And I would say that the potential that we've seen, that I've shown in my slide, also makes it clear that many other countries and developing countries that have other problems such as water, and that the energy water nexus is something that is clearly also extremely important, can benefit a lot from this sort of investment, but it has to be done by those that have the financial capacity to do so. And so some of these systems that we are testing here, for instance, would be very interesting to use in islands that have, as you know, a tremendous cost with fossil fuels. And this dependency is something that can be reduced using some of these technological solutions. But the resource is there, the conversion is at different stages, considering you're talking about offshore wind and others. Our idea is that we can leverage the vastest, let's say, mix of these technologies to try to have an electrical system, because we know electrification is by far, there are other vectors as hydrogen, we could discuss a lot about hydrogen also, but the electrification is key for this decarbonization of society, and to be able to use all the resources we have is absolutely fundamental.
And you help accelerate it, right?
Yes, that's the point.
Well, thank you so much. I think it was a really interesting panel here. Thank you so much for your interventions. I believe you will be around if anyone wants to catch up with you, and of course using the emails from your institutions. So thank you so much. I would ask everyone for a big round of applause to our speakers, of course. And, well, I would like to thank, of course, my institution, FCT, for promoting this hour, Ana Amorim, that has been talking with all of you to run everything smoothly, Fórum Oceano, the University of Lisbon, the Municipality of Lisbon, our sponsors, and, of course, to you.